Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's about 20 past 3 on Tuesday, the 15th of December. As always, I'm looking at VectorVest USA, and as you can see, a reasonably strong day. Advances twice that of the declines. The S&P up about 20 points, the Dow up about 100 points. After yesterday's sell-off, the short-term trend on VectorVest is still down. The longer term trends, all of them are up, but until the short term trend changes, VectorVest does not advocate buying stocks today. So if we have a look at the composite, the VectorVest composite now. The VectorVest composite is an equally weighted index of all of the shares that we follow in the US, and you can see this huge and incredibly strong move from the election. The question in all our minds is this the Santa rally, or is there more to come? Certainly the market is going in this little range, and when the primary wave did turn down 2 days ago, it was quite a marginal decision because the it's been stuck in this range for quite a long time. With any luck, we'll get a short-term primary wave up in the next couple of days, maybe today even, but let's just judge that on a day-by-day basis. So just a hang fire at the moment. If we have a look at the S&P, we can see that yesterday the S&P opened up very strongly, then closed right on that support level, and it's gapped up at the open 3669, closed at 3647 yesterday, so we're up 22 points already. These are very important levels, and if we can get up through that 3.7 level, then I think we can push much higher indeed. But let's, as I say, take it day by day. The advice on VectorVest is to sit in your hands today until we get the primary wave turning back up. That's really good advice. I'm reasonably happy. As I've said to you many times, I haven't been as aggressive in this period as I should have, but nevertheless the stocks that I've got are going very nicely. AMD in particular has broken up to an all-time high, and apps had a cracking day yesterday. So if we have a look at these right down to square, and I in fact chart those quickly, we can see that yesterday at our VectorVest Q&A I put in this little symmetrical triangle which broke in great style yesterday, so that's going very nicely. My entry into this wasn't that good, but nevertheless we're well into the money. I haven't got my stop loss up to entry as yet, but it looks very strong after this consolidation, folks. That's AMD, gapped yesterday, gapped today then, and as you can see, a gap out of this all-time high, very bullish indeed. So that looks as if it can go quite a long way. Upwork, that was my what I call a sweet spot. That's what I try and teach in the VectorVest courses, and that has moved very nicely indeed. So very pleased with that. Pins. Going. This drift up is always a worry. This spring was an outstanding example of a Wyckoff spring. Roku going there very nicely indeed, and Snap hanging in there, well in the money. And Square, well in the money. That was my entry, not a great entry at 190, but it's at 220 now, so I can't grumble too much. An awful lot of other positions that I could have looked at, but because the market timing indicator on VectorVest and the buy-sell ratio was so stretched, let's just have a look at those. I didn't look at them earlier. As you can see, MTI 1.64, buy-sell ratio's come off a little bit at 4.89, but still in a mega overbought situation, so that made me err a little bit conservative in my asset allocation, should I say. The gold market starting to look good. So that's the gold market today, folks. That's bullion itself, and this is pulled back. As you know, those fib scholars will know that there was a 78% retracement and a confluence of that old high, and a nice three-wave pullback. It's starting to move again. I thought yesterday it was going to go 1817. I said in the Q&A it stopped at 1818 and moving up quite strongly indeed. I think, folks, that if it does get above 1875, you can certainly add to your gold positions. I've just got one at the moment, which is polymetal. It came back a little bit yesterday, but it's still looking quite good. So if I see it moving above this 1875, 1876 level, then I'm going to add in a couple of UK marginal mines, such as Pan-African Resources. If we have a look at the 4-hour chart of the same thing, we can see that it's come back, and as you can see, there's an old high, and it came back once, twice, and then ran them all yesterday afternoon, and is now moving up very strongly. Lovely blue bars here on the upside, so that looks very promising indeed for gold. Okay, nobody knows what's going to happen next, but I think that you can all take trades in gold stocks with a very low capital exposure. If you're in fact wrong, you shouldn't lose too much, and you've got the prospect of making an awful lot when you're right. The target on gold from here, which is an expansion of this pullback, would be at about 2,200. That's also the Goldman Sachs target in gold, and I assure you that those marginal mines and even mainline mines like polymetal will be printing money at those particular prices. So a high probability, low risk, high reward trade that is what this business is all about, folks. Okay, nobody knows what's going to happen next. The UK market, well, I think that the UK market did better yesterday. The buys well ahead of the sells, a green light, and we have an up situation in the UK market. VectorVest advocates buying safe undervalued stocks that are rising in price at this time. I've held most of my portfolio since April this year, and they've been very, very kind to me indeed. Certainly in the anguish of February and March, I didn't for 1 second think that I'd be as much as I am at the moment, but the portfolio needs a bit of a shake-up. I've done probably more work in the US market than in the UK market, because that's where the energy has been. That won't always be the case, but certainly this year those shares that did well out of people staying at home produce trends that are rare, ladies and gentlemen. So don't think that those trends that we've seen in Square and Lulu, etc., are going to turn up every year. This has been an exceptional year in those shares. So if we have a look at what I've been doing, and if we go to that watch list, Sylvania Platinum is a share that I bought a few more the other day, and I'm going to have a look at that straight away. And there we are. As you know, if you see bars, it's something I've got money in. I started with bars. I've told you many times that the reason I start with bars is that they're much, much easier to draw, because when I started this, I hand charted the darn things. Markets move, and then they go to sleep. They let the earnings catch up, and then they do the same thing again. And this pullback to that last old high, I felt was a good place to add to some. So I managed. They're not that easy to get, but I managed to add to that position here, and I'm looking forward to the share moving up very strongly indeed. As you can see, the VectorVest valuation is right up at 145. It's a small miner, and got exceptional prospects. I know the mine exceptionally well, so that's earnings per share moving up very strongly indeed. This is such a wonderful indicator on VectorVest. If your trades are in sync with this earnings per share growth, my word, you get very lucky indeed. So that's got everything going for it. It's undervalued, great trend, great earnings per share, and if you can tick those three things, folks, and the general market is rising as well, then you've got such an edge in the stock market. So that looks good. There are worries in the portfolio, that's for sure. Team 17 is going good now. Plus 500 has been a bogey share for me over the years, and it's doing the same thing again. As you can see, it's significantly undervalued. Earnings per share is rising strongly, but folks, it's simply coming back to the bids. Get rid of the value for a second so we can see, and it's simply coming back to the bids here, and they like to do that, and I would suspect that it's going to be bid at about £13 here. And if you want the big moves, you've got to hang in and live with those. If you can't live with them, then you need to actually hone your skills as a swing trader. Take a bit here, get out, take a bit here, get out. That has got its own pressures, but it means that you don't have to live through these sell-offs. But that's what the darn things do, folks. They break, they come back and kiss, and sometimes they come back and kiss for the second time before they go. So I'm hanging in there. It's still in a hold, but as I say, plus 500 has challenged me over the years. A share that's doing exactly the same thing as Avon Rubber, and that has scared quite a few people out there because we've done so well in the darn thing this year. I bought it in April, just here, at about, I don't know what it was, 25, 26 pounds, went to 45, now it's pulled back a little bit, and it's finding some form of support under there. It was as high as 39 yesterday, and my son is watching this at the minute for me. He's watching the stops, and I think the last quote we got was 37.20, so it's actually down below yesterday's low. So we need to watch these levels. I would expect support to come in here, and I was nearly about to buy into more of this yesterday, and then the next time I looked I saw it selling off. So give it a few days here for the dust to settle, folks. If you do see the dust settles, this could probably be a magnificent place to actually buy some more of this quality company. So that's looking quite nice. Now what I have bought, if I can find it, is that I only bought a few because it's horrendously expensive. This is Flutter, and that's Flutter, folks. It's a FTSE 100 company, and that would have been a much better entry because the stochastic was right down here. But I like this based on price and volume, because if you look at this last little advance, as it advanced here, the volume rose incredibly. Then it pulled back on those few days on virtually no volume, and then it broke this high on big volume. It's now going sideways on low volume, so I think my stomach tells me that that wants to in fact break up. It is a swing trade, and hopefully the trade will last for a few days. So I bought a few of those this morning. So that's what I've been doing in the UK. Quite happy with CCC. It's starting to move. Incredible results on CCC. I hope that you read the results, folks, on GB Group. They were absolutely magnificent and in line with the VectorVest 1.2 RS, showing that this is a quality company, and all those financial measurements that I struggle to get my head around are in fact in great shape. You can see a very similar RS on Avon Rubber. Again, the results were magnificent. Halma's moving up very strongly. Those of you that are swing traders only, there's been a great swing trade. If you just want to swing trade and not sit in the big moves, there's been a great swing trade possibility in Halma. JD Sports finding some great support, up very nicely yesterday. Just a matter of time, in my humble opinion, until we get through the £8 level, although lockdowns and more blessed lockdowns can cause people who sell shoes problems, I suppose. Very happy with a lot of them. Plus 500 is, if I had hair, it would be making my hair grey. So Games Workshop above the £100 level, and Polymetal, if the gold price in fact does move the way I think it's going to go, this share's got a huge future in front of it. When gold, if we go back to the gold market, there's the gold market. If it can get back up through this high at about 1875, then I will probably add a little share. I like the look of Pan African Resources. Let's see if we can find it here. I'll have to take it out because I haven't bought it yet, but it's just easy for me to put it in. That's Pan African Resources, folks, and as you can see, there's earnings per share over the last year has gone from nothing. Now this company, I know the asset out in a most magnificent place in what used to be called the Eastern Transvaal, Mpumalanga these days, this is a textbook flag, or what my dear friend Tom Bolkowski would call a tight flag. He wrote a book called The Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns, and it's pushing on this resistance level, as you can see, and the day traders are buying into it and selling it at that level. And if it can get through this level, and it'll take that gold price to move, then the target on this simple, what technicians would refer to as a measured move, would be this repeated on the upside, and that would take it up, folks, to pretty much the VectorVest valuation at about 40 pence, and that would be just lovely coming up to Christmas. So I'm watching that. I haven't done anything yet. As soon as I see gold break, then I think that's certainly one of the first ones that I'm going to have a go at. As I say, this at the moment they're actually printing money, these guys. A share price back up above 1900 and above 2000 has a huge effect on marginal miners. So plenty of opportunity. Just sit and wait for that thing to break, and as I say, next year I need to take the knife to this portfolio. I've been holding some of them for too long. Let's have a last quick look at the US, and we can see that since I've been blethering on, the market looking a lot stronger here. Certainly the breadth of the market and the price of the composite moving up a lot stronger, and this can change intraday, as you know. And if we have one last quick look, if I can find it, at the S&P 500, and the S&P 500 in fact sitting pretty much where it was. Needs to clear these highs here. If it breaks above those highs, then I think that we can run quite strongly. I'm still quite bullish for a run into Christmas. Watch your stops carefully, folks. The VectorVest metrics, which are reality, are saying that this market is in a mega overbought situation. And as I've said a couple of times now, any change in the narrative this the vaccine, this new strain of COVID that our politicians were talking about yesterday, that could in fact upset the apple cart. And if that were to be the case, we can see a very strong snap back in this. So just watch your stop losses very carefully indeed. Thanks very much indeed. Bye bye.